I hope all of you had a fantastic weekend, and today I'll be covering another BT16 deck profile that I think a lot of players will flock to. With insectoid Digimon like Tyrantkabuterimon making their grand appearance, what is a baseline deck you can look at? This deck is by no means perfect, but it also gives you insight on what could be better options for you versus others. Lastly, I've only briefly tested this with my busy schedule, so Magnamon X, Birds, Imperial Dramon and more aside, this has plenty of room to grow and change. For level 2s, Motimon from BT15 is an amazing egg. Because of its end of turn ability, you can almost always have your insectoid Digimon in the suspended state in order to have their immunity effects from Digimon. Only downside, you must attack into an opponent's suspended Digimon. Your opponent can play around this by not having a Digimon in play, or even one that's not suspended. Alternatively, EX5 offers an additional DP buff with Nyaromon for another plus 1000 DP. It's not perfect, but I do think this DP buff can come in handy. Nyaromon is the only egg that I could find that has an all-turns effect, making it dominantly the best one after Motimon, in my opinion. For level 3s, you're going to find this lineup interesting. Palmon has a start of main phase where one of your opponent's Digimon gains an all-turns effect, where when they become suspended, they lose 2 memory until the end of the turn. The inheritable on your turn, once per turn reduces the Digivolution cost by 1 if you have a green Tamer in play. Tentomon, start of main, by suspending one Digimon, one of your Digimon with the insectoid trait gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. These two Digimon in combination with each other can be very deadly, as if your opponent promotes out or leaves a Digimon in play with Palmon in the raise, and Tentomon in the battle area, you can gain 2 memory and simultaneously buff Tentomon on your turn. The last option goes to Kokabuterimon, who is the searcher of the deck and only bottom decks Palmons, Quartzmon, your options, and Tamers. Overall, not a bad searcher. I just wish it was Kokuamon if we wanted to abuse it in combination with Kokuamon X. The only other suggestions I would have would be to split your Palmons into 2 Terriermons and Lotmons from starter deck 17. This also allows you to not just use these cards for playing off each other, but double Typhoons as well. In regards to consistency, I definitely like the Palmon variant more. However, Lotmon and Terriermon do have their additional plus 1000 DP buffs if you're suspended. So either way, it's player preference. Level 4 wise, largely Kabuterimon is an amazing level 4 in that it's unaffected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon while it's suspended. True, its inheritable can gain you a memory when you delete an opponent's Digimon on all turns. But the fact is, you can safely build wider now if Kabuterimon is your lowest level, and Tyrantkabuterimon is your highest level, and both are suspended. Because now anything in between can't be touched. Bladekuwagamon provides more inheritable DP buffs, and an on-play when Digivolving effect that also gives those buffs. Between these two Digimon, these are largely the most common in the deck. The last 2 slots can vary. On one hand, you could use Exermon because it is an insectoid Digimon that can suspend one of your Digimon to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and also has an inheritable effect of plus 1000 DP for each of your other suspended Digimon. On another, you could use BT3 Stingmon for more memory when you delete an opponent's Digimon in battle, EX1 Kuwagamon for the stunning of an opponent's Digimon from unsuspending, Kuwagamon X for inheritable piercing, Promo Kuwagamon for the stun on play when digivolving of an opponent's Digimon or Tamer from unsuspending and an inheritable of plus 2000 DP, or even the simplest one that I've selected, Sneemon for its security presence and suspending an opponent's Digimon. One reason I'm partial to this Digimon is that you can not only suspend an opponent's Digimon, but this also gives you a target to blast Digivolve into with Mega Kabuterimon Ace. Again, all of these options are situational dependent on what you're comfortable with and where you want to take the deck direction-wise. For level 5s, you'll always run the new Metal Life Kuwagamon because it has that inheritable redirect once per turn, and also an on-play when Digivolving effect that suspends one Digimon, yours or your opponent's, then one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. As for Mega Kabuterimon Ace, I've playtested with minimum 2 and as high as 4 copies. With Mega Kabuterimon Ace, this Digimon has an on-play when Digivolving effect, that one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. Then if one of their Digimon is attacking, you may switch the attack target to this Digimon. Like Kabuterimon, this Digimon is unaffected by Digimon effects while it's suspended. Combo with DP buffs, and it's at minimum a 10,000 DP body with Digimon immunity. 4 copies isn't terrible, but it's not necessary. I feel 2 copies is the bare minimum, with a few other options for the last 2 slots. For me, I decided that a 1-tech copy of BT12 Metal Life Kuwagamon would honestly be hilarious. And it's not because of the inheritable by any means. It's the fact that I could potentially build a somewhat immune board from Digimon effects, then skip the level 6 into Quartzmon because of the save in text. But if you don't care for this particular level 5 Digimon, Starter Deck Mega Kabuterimon is a great option for trashing your opponent's security, while Promo Okuamon could act as a tax for memory tricks. One important thing about this Digimon is that once you Digivolve, make sure you track the effect, because now that it's covered, it's very easy to forget. Level 6 wise, you're mandatory going to run 4 copies of Tyrantkabuterimon and at least 1 copy of Shivamon. That's the bare minimum of what your level 6s will be. Tyrantkabuterimon can Digivolve from a level 5 insectoid Digimon for 6, or a level 6 insectoid Digimon for a cost of 2. In the deck, the only caveat here is that you can't Tyrantkabuterimon off of Tyrantkabuterimon. When Digivolving, you may play 1 Digimon card with insectoid from your hand with a play cost reduced by 8. Whether the Floodgate is like Gatsumon to stop the Digimon played by effect, or Solarmon for the cost reduction, these are the floodgates to be wary of most. At some points, you may have to suspend them first, and then run over them before you go into this play. Doing so, you can set up Shivamon or even additional Digimon who are unaffected through your opponent's turn, especially because of Tyrantkabuterimon's end of turn effect. The end of turn once per turn allows you to suspend one of your other Digimon, then return one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to the Digimon suspended by this effect to the bottom of the deck. This built-in removal is honestly insane, and comboed with Shivamon gives you a board presence where they can't even use option cards while all of your Digimon are suspended. Because of Motimon, you can almost always ensure that all of your Digimon are suspended. For the rest of the lineup, I went with Hercules Kabuterimon for its ability to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, Gift Piercing, and also be unaffected while it's suspended. While Grankuwagamon Ace is a trap that can on play and when Digivolving, suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then delete one of your opponent's suspended Tamers. Tamers are going to be very important in the upcoming format, with some of them like Davis, Shu Yu Lin, Davis and Ken, and others pulling the weight in some decks. As for the top end for options, again you could go into Death Xmon, Quartzmon, and even Ruin mode, considering Grankuwagamon Ace is purple and can climb into this as well. The only downside for all of these Digimon is that they aren't searchable with cards like Kokabuterimon, but at least Quartzmon can be found with agility training. Option card wise, I have the usual suspects Hidden Potential discovered that have that cheap evil climb for Tyrantkabuterimon from 6 to just 1 memory. Agility trainings for the evolution reductions, and of course we'll be beefing up the deck with some removal as well, with Giant Missile. Because I anticipate Magnamon X being extremely popular, Giant Missile will be one of the best things for them to hit in security if you want to remove Magnamon X before it's completely immune. In some playtesting against 4 Sovereign, this was also huge removal against Fanglongmon, especially if you couldn't upkeep the DP buffs every turn. Alternatively, you could use the option card Shine of B as well, because this does also suspend and remove Digimon, albeit of the lowest DP. The benefit though comes in the form of DP buffs, but personally I like being able to select my target versus having it taken from me. Lastly for the deck, I round it with 3 copies of Izzy Azumi. While true, nothing in the deck right now plays it for free, each time one of these gets set up, your opponent is looking to circumvent your board unless they have more DP buffs to beat over you. Largely, option cards are this deck's biggest weakness, but with Izzy, you have ways to fix memory and also redirect attacks. Tyrantkabuterimon has a lot of fun options in the deck to play around with, and I can't stress enough that this is a baseline version that I've been tinkering with, and strongly encourage players, old and new, to find what works best for you. Because in the end, put a little of yourself into the deck as well. What were your thoughts on this deck, and what are you going to change? Let me know your thoughts and opinions, because this week is going to be hopefully loaded with more Digimon content. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.